and it hurts to admit, and it's it's hurtful to think about this. One time I said to my attorney, "Look, let's make up some stuff and sue that guy for a whole bunch of stuff to at least bring him to the bargaining table, make him shut up and drop this maybe and leave it alone." He said, "You can't do that." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because it's wrong. You can't just make up stuff and sue him." I said, "That's what he did to me." He said, he looked at me and said, "But you're not that type of person." I want you to know, and I've got the t-shirt that says, "Ask me how I know." All right, Bob, welcome. Good to see you, man.
Thank you. Good to see you, Roger.
I enjoyed our brief conversation a couple of weeks ago when we were getting ready for this, and your approach to the whole thing. But you know what? I want to begin just by assuming that we've got some people here who are brand new to this whole idea of asset protection and this kind of planning. And so let's kind of get back to square one. What does it mean when we're talking about asset protection, and why do we need it?
Well, I like to think of it in terms of a football game for a metaphor. And, in football, you got offense and you got defense. And you need a good defense, every bit as good as your offense to win the game. And so you're teaching people offense. That's how to make money in real estate. I teach people how to keep their money, and that's defense. So you got to have both. Doesn't do much good to make a bunch of money and then lose it to taxes or lose it in a lawsuit or anything else. So what I do is asset protection really involves three things. It's tax reduction, it's lawsuit protection, and it's estate planning as well. So those three areas all go together.
Okay, three areas, and let's make sure that we cover all those. Don't let me get out of here
Sure.
tonight with, let's cover all of those briefly. But
Okay.
all right, I want everybody right now that's on the Zoom call or watching on Facebook or YouTube, put your hand up. If you think to yourself, "I'm a nice person, no one's ever going to sue me," put your hand up. My hand is up. I have sat where you sat. Okay, I see them. You are all nice. Brenda, I know you are so nice. I know you. No one's ever going to say, well, here's the thing, everybody. I want you to know, and I've got the t-shirt that says, "Ask me how I know." If the perception gets to be out there that you have a lot of money, a
Mhm.
lot of assets,
Mhm.
someone out there is just crooked enough to want to find a way to get some of that from you. And here's the dirty little secret. They can make up something and sue you, and it could be completely made up. But when they do, you've lost, because
That's
you're going to
right.
pay for your legal fees to protect yourself, and most of the time it's going to be cheaper to settle than to defend yourself. And as a business person, you're going to settle. So they just took money from you and you did nothing wrong. Ask me how I know. I've got the t-shirt. Okay? It's happened,
Yeah.
but it's never going to
Mhm.
happen to me again because I have done what Bob is about to tell you about. All right? So let's go on defense, Bob.
Roger, I couldn't have said it better. You're absolutely right, because anybody can sue anyone for any reason at any time. Now, when they sue you, it doesn't mean they have a good claim. It doesn't mean that they're going to win at trial, but there's a 95% likelihood they're never going to go to trial, because most cases, in fact, 95% of all cases filed, actually settle out of court.
Right?
And because of that, it's exactly what you said. The minute you get sued, you've already lost, because you got to pay an attorney to defend yourself. You're going to eventually settle the case in some way. And unless you have a really great defense in place, you're going to end up paying money for something you never did in the first
Yep.
place.
Yep, that is so true, and it hurts to admit, and it's it's hurtful to think about this. One time I said to my attorneys, "Look, let's make up some stuff and sue that guy for a whole bunch of stuff to at least bring him to the bargaining table, make him shut up and drop this maybe and leave it alone." He said, "You can't do that." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because it's wrong. You can't just make up stuff and sue him." I said, "That's what he did to me." He said, he
Hmm.
looked at me and said, "But you're not that type of person." Dang it.
Well, if
I'm
you
not.
let me put it this way, if you don't want to be that type of person, then the alternative is get yourself protected before that kind of thing happens. And then you've got the kind of leverage that you were just talking about without having to be a bad guy.
Right. Because when they get ready to sue you, what's that attorney who is working on a what do you call it? A percentage,
Contingency
a
fee basis.
contingency.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are they going to look at first?
Oh, they're going to do an asset search because they're going to think of it this way. They're going to invest in your case. They're going to basically buy your case. So they're going to buy a 50% interest in your case by putting up the money for the court costs and witness fees and not charging for their time. And then assuming they win, they take 50% of everything they collect. And what that means is they've got risk. And in order to quantify that risk, they have the ability to go to the internet and do an asset search where they can literally find virtually everything you own. It's a digital world out there, and that means everything is traceable unless you buried something in your backyard. It's traceable. I mean, titles on in county offices are all traceable. Records at secretaries of state are all traceable, and so they can easily quantify what you have if you've made the mistake of simply owning all your assets in your personal name. They can see it all.
All right. That's the big one right there. And I can just tell you, Bob, I'm a little proud of myself now, but when they look at me, I don't have any money and I don't own a thing. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own a single asset. I control a few things, but I don't own anything.
Good for you, Roger. You're doing it exactly right, because the phrase I use is you want to be rich and you want to look broke. And when I say that, I mean you want to look broke to a potential plaintiff's lawyer who may be doing an asset search on you. Now, people get a little freaked out when I say you want to look broke, because they say, well, how am I ever going to get a loan if I look broke? And the short response is no. When you're getting a loan, you're going to give them a full financial statement. You're going to reveal everything to your banker at that point. But to a plaintiff's lawyer, you want to be able to look broke.
After you have the banker sign an NDA or something.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So how do you achieve this, Bob? Tell us, because there's probably a better way to do it than I did it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know, because you may have done it very, very well. You're a pretty smart guy. Look, the point is, here's asset protection 101. And that is anything that you own can be seized in a lawsuit if the judgment is against you. So therefore, you want to transfer the ownership of assets into other types of entities that will protect them from a plaintiff taking them in a lawsuit. So for instance, if you have rental properties, you can transfer the rental properties into, let's say, an LLC. And when they sue Roger Blankenship and they get a judgment against Roger, that's not the LLC, and the assets in the LLC are protected from a suit against you.
I'll give them all $450 in my checking account.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You know, I live in Dallas, Texas, and lawyers in Texas say about people who could protect themselves but don't. They say, you know, some folks just need suing. And I hope that isn't you.
Yeah, well, you know, America is a particularly litigious society. There are more lawyers in Fulton County, Georgia, where I live, than in the entire country of Japan.
Yes.
So
No surprise.
It's something that's uniquely American, and we don't have a loser pays system, which, you know, I kind of would like. My uncle is an attorney, and he can make some compelling arguments against it. But this opens the doors for a lot of this abusive kind of stuff. But,
Yes,
you know,
it does.
we're not going to change that. I'm not running for office.
Nope.
So we're not going to fix that thing. What we have to do is protect. I want you to know, and I've got the T-shirt that says, "Ask me how I know."